Let us now consider linguistic relativity within the context of our current discussions regarding gender identity. As you know, we're currently having discussions within our society with regard to gender and what gender means within our cultural context. And when thinking about these discussions, I often wonder, well, how have we arrived at the point that we find ourselves with debating what the nature of gender is for us, especially in the United States? And as I think about this, I wonder whether or not in many Western societies, the reason why we find ourselves having these discussions is because throughout the history, linguistically speaking, in our cultures, in Western cultures, the concept of biological sex has been conflated with the concept of gender. And due to this, language evolves or develops in such a way where there are only two terms, male and female, that are used for both concepts. And this ultimately has traditionally shaped the reality or our perceptions of reality that gender is binary, that there is only a male and female gender. But as previously discussed in other lectures, gender is a cultural construct different from a biological sex. And it is possible for some cultures to have more than two genders. And when you compare Western societies like the United States to other places like the Buddhist culture of Malaysia, where there are five genders, it is interesting to note that they have words for those five genders. And those words provide the symbolic meaning that defines the roles those genders play within that culture. Going back to us in Western society, especially the United States, because for the most part, many people only use the words male and female, there's this traditional notion that, well, gender is binary and the roles associated with that gender difference is linked to one's biological sex. This is a hypothesis of mine, of course, explaining essentially why we're having this conversation, why we're seeing this debate take place. Let's go back to the German linguist Helmut Gipper, who states the fact that we are capable of initiating changes in our language and in our thinking habits. We could see that today in society, with regard to our discussions about gender, we're introducing new words and new ways of using pronouns to account for gender fluidity. And as Helmut Gipper concluded, language is not absolute in shaping the perceptions of our reality. Language can change over time. Therefore, language should be seen in terms of degrees of having the ability to influence the perceptions and the way we see the world around us. This is something for you to consider and think about for further discussion later on. Let us now look at the example of music and ask the question, can music be considered a universal language? Can it allow us to bridge people from different language and cultural backgrounds. Researchers reported in the journal Current Biology that individuals from 60 countries who were listening to the same songs could make similar inferences about those songs even after only listening to a 14-second clip of the song. This would suggest that music allows us to transcend cultural differences and provide an opportunity for individuals from diverse backgrounds to have a shared experience. One of the reasons why this may be the case may have to do with the mathematical nature of music. One time I asked a friend of mine who's a DJ why he thought music may provide the ability to bridge people from different language and cultural backgrounds. And he reasoned that, especially in electronic dance music, there's a repeated beat that continues throughout the song. And that helps to synchronize everyone within the audience, creating a shared experience. This concludes the lecture. Following this video is a TED Talk with regard to linguistic relativity.